So my name is Elena Gonzalez. I'm a crisis counselor with the crisis counseling program. We offer free mental health services to the Hill Country area. And to start off, I want to tell y'all a little bit about my daily habits. So first and foremost, I never skip breakfast. I believe that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Even if I'm just grabbing a granola bar on my way out of the house, on my way to work, I always try to never skip it. I also like meditating, even if it's just for 5 minutes, just sitting and really processing maybe like how my day went at the end of the day. I also like doing that as well. And no screens before bed. So for about an hour before I go to sleep, I'll turn off my phone. I won't watch TV and just have that time to wind down before I go to sleep.
And my name is Leslie Perez. And some of my daily habits are, I like to do yoga like 20 or 30 minutes a couple times a week. Nothing crazy. I'm very basic with my yoga. It just helps me relax and kind of zen, if you will, for the day and the week. Spending quality time with my daughter. She is 2 and into everything and really into like learning and things like that now. So I kind of tried to, at the end of every day, just have 20 or 30 minutes because that's about her attention span of something that we do one-on-one or the 3 of us, my husband and my daughter and I, that is engaging for her. Especially with working all day, it's kind of nice to have that time when I get home with her. And then after she goes to bed, I like to make time for myself before bed. It is definitely not a no screens for me. I like to read. I read on my Kindle, so or watch a TV show, sometimes a movie, just something that I can't do with her because she's into everything. She's even learned how to use the remote so she can turn off my shows if she wants. So just kind of anything that's kind of me time. Again, for like 20, 30 minutes before bed. And those are all daily habits that we have worked into our lives. So we want to talk about why healthy habits are important.
So if you notice, all of our daily habits that we listed are very healthy for us. They kind of help us relax or feel better. Breakfast for nutrition. But there are bad habits that you can start without knowing. Maybe you get fast food every day for lunch or, pick up smoking. We're going to be talking more about the healthy habits that you can incorporate into your day-to-day life.
Yeah, and you'll know that habits are different for each of us. Your habits are going to be different from mine. Elena's are different from mine. Some of hers are very different. And some of, she has her no screens. I like a little screen time. She does not have a child. So it's all very specific to you and who you are. And this is just kind of give you an idea of how to create those habits and work them in so that they become part of your everyday routine. So when you hear the word habit, what do you think of? Like, what's the first word that comes to mind when you hear habit?
That's it. Thing is that I have a word, and then I don't have a word. But like daily
routines, yeah.
Yeah, routines that are helpful.
Helpful routines. Something that you do every day. Yes. Repetition is what kind of comes to mind for me.
Automatic, just something that you just do. That's what comes to mind for me.
Did we have anybody online that wanted to? Okay. So yeah, so habits are routine, they're automatic, they're things that you do every day. And in creating those habits, how many do you think that you should start at one time?
One.
I feel like Yeah, 'cause that's my thing.
What do you think?
Going with the group answer. Yeah. So you're right. It's one. We should always start our habits with one. You can have an idea of 3 or 4 that you want to ultimately get to, but to really make a habit work and become part of your day-to-day life, you should start with one. And then
you definitely want to do your research whenever you're wanting to start a habit. So maybe you want to meal prep your meals instead of getting fast food for lunch. You need to research, how feasible is it for you to be able to do that? You have the time to do that. Also, just general health wise, what you need to eat. Yeah, you definitely need to research exactly what you're trying to do.
And you would want to start with one meal a day versus, trying to meal prep 3 meals a day, because that could be exhausting. So once you pick the habit that you want to start for yourself, doing your research is the first most important part of that. And the reason that your research is important is because everybody experiences what they call ego depletion. So when we wake up in the morning, we feel ready to go. We're energized, we're ready to start our day. We've got a task list and we're going to conquer it all, right? But then by noon, our energy starts kind of waning, and maybe that task list looks a little bigger than we thought it did. And by the time you get home, say it's 4 to 6 p.m., part of that task list might have been doing your dishes, and those dishes might look good in the sink a little bit longer at that point, or making dinner might seem like an overwhelming task because you've kind of lost energy throughout the day. So when you are deciding on your habits, you want to choose the right habit, you want to choose the right time, and you want to think about how your ego depletion works throughout the day, because it's different for everybody. Some of us might not lose our energy at noon. We might not lose energy until 2 or 3. And then do you work full time? What does that look like? So when you're focusing on your one habit, these are all things to take into consideration.
So I think the hardest part about trying to implement a new habit into your life is actually doing it. It's making that commitment to yourself. And some of the ways you can try to alleviate some of that stress when you're trying to implement these healthy habits, structure. So maybe you want to start a habit of working out. It's looking at your day and it's do you want to work out before you go to work? Do you want to do it in the evening? Do you want to do it on your lunch break? Trying to find where that fits is very important.
And when we say finding where that fits, you want to look at your whole week. So if your habit is including exercise, and maybe you're going to include exercise 3 days a week, it's finding the 3 days that's going to work out best for your schedule. You don't want to start a habit of any sort, but we'll continue on the exercise route. You don't want to start a habit of going to the gym at 6 a.m. on Monday if you know that Monday is the hardest day for you to get up and get going. So you might want to look at Tuesday or Wednesday and what 3 days are going to work out best for you. So it's really picking the structure that's going to work out best for you. Another thing that helps us when we're creating habits and trying to stick to them is documenting our journey. Even if it's just writing down a little note for yourself every day, or creating a checklist and putting your new habit on that checklist. It's having that documentation. So at the end of the week, you can say, hey, I made my 3 gym days. I did this.
I think can also be present. Maybe you tell a coworker, hey, I'm going to start working out these days, and it can help you. They can help you be accountable.
Yeah, supporting you. And I think they say it takes 2 weeks for a habit to really become part of your daily routine. So setting a date that's going to work for you to start that habit is another important part of the commitment to yourself. So, you know, when we all think about starting something new, we're like, yes, we're going to do it right away. But maybe right away comes and something's come up. So what I like to do whenever I'm starting something new is I look at the calendar and kind of look at my schedule for the next couple weeks and say, okay, I'm really gung-ho to start this, but Monday's really not going to work for me this week. I'm going to wait until the following week. And I'm going to write it on my calendar so that I see it. I'm going to write it in like red or pink, something bold that I can look at every day. And that way I see it every day and I tell myself the whole week leading up to it, okay, Monday is when we start this. Monday is when we start this. So setting a date and sticking to it requires being prepared for setting that date. So you don't have to like start your new habit immediately. It's just having that set out for you.
And you can even set a date for maybe a goal. So maybe you're going to work out 3 times a week for a month and see how that works out for you. Having that end date, it feels rewarding also.
When you and it can help kind of push you through it too sometimes. I know when I first started at the gym, I was like, this elliptical machine and me are not friends. And having that end date, you know, can really push you through. It's like, okay, I'm on day 6, but I only have, you know, 6 more days to go because there's 2 weeks left. So, you know, a start date is a great way to go. An end date is a great way to go. Short goals are ideal when you're creating habits because your short goals can turn into longer goals. But you don't want to overwhelm yourself. You know, you want to look at a 2-week to 1 month time span versus like 6 months down the road, a year down the road. You know, large time spans are overwhelming. Short time spans are more compatible with kind of our mind frame when we're looking at goals and stuff.
So what we want to know is, what is one thing that you do every day? What is a habit that you might have? Yes.
One habit that I actually already have a couple of daily habits now that I think about it, but one that daily habit that I always try to make an effort to do is to eat my fish. Like having a habit, I found that I've been getting better at building habits, and then with something to build the structure of my day around, and fish keeping, taking care of something else. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, that's great.
That is great. Like you said, feeding your fish, feeding our dogs is one for my husband and I. So we have a large number of dogs. We are suckers for the animal rescue. And so we have set times that they eat. And that is something that took us a while to get used to, is feeding 5 dogs at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. But it's become a daily habit. It's a routine. He feeds them in the morning. I feed them in the evening. And it's something that we've even started incorporating for our daughter. So she likes to come help feed the dogs now. And so we've incorporated her into that routine. She likes to pick up the bowl and bring it to us, and we scoop the food in it, and she calls the dogs. She does not say their names properly, but they're starting to figure out which dog she's referring to. So, you know, it's little things like that are a habit that we really don't even recognize sometimes. What about you?
I set the breakfast for my husband, for my son.
Yeah. Yeah, making a meal every morning for them. Yeah.
For breakfast, for dinner, and for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
For dinner, for the go out
to eat. Yeah. Yeah. So making your meals at home and yeah, no, that's really great. Yeah.
I study books. I study my
Yeah.
I I I my doctor said she wants to go somewhere.
Okay, transportation. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's great.
those are great. Transporting your kids is a lot. I feel like they have a million things to do, and I'm just like, can we sit down? Yeah. So those are all habits that you do because it's something that's become part of your routine. You know, for me, like I said, we feed our dogs at set times every day. I also wake up myself and my daughter at the same time every day. Which when I first started, I thought was crazy because it's like 7 a.m. because of my job. So even on the weekends, we're up at 7 a.m. But it's really important for her and her health that we wake up and go to bed at the same time every day. When I first went back to work, I found that on the weekends, we had a lot of problems with her schedule and then readjusting Monday. And then by the time we got to Friday, it was just a mess. So setting that habit of going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time every day, whether I work or not, was something that we really had to work on over the last, it's been a while now, over the last 6 months. I just kind of set small goals because we had to go from a 10 p.m. bedtime all the way to a 7 p.m. bedtime. And that was rough, getting her on that schedule and getting myself on that schedule even was really rough. So that's one that I did for myself.
Yeah.
I do. I feel more energized now, especially during the week for work and everything like that. I don't feel as tired or dragged out in the mornings. But on the weekends, it's really even helped me to just feel better. I drink less coffee, which, if you knew me, would be like, wow, because I used to be like 3, 4 cups before noon. Yeah, I was just always dragging. And now I might have a coffee in the morning, but I sometimes go without at all. Um, and we get more done on the weekends because we're up earlier, especially this time of year when it is so hot outside. We're getting more done because we'll get up at 7 a.m. We'll have breakfast as a family, and we might go on a walk. We might go like out to one of the parks and go hiking. So it's really helped a lot in my overall life and kind of happiness, even because we're not flip-flopping constantly, and I'm not fighting with her. When I first went back to work, that was one of our biggest issues was I was constantly fighting with her. Like I'd be exhausted by Wednesday and she'd still want to be up until 11 p.m. I'm like, Mom has to get up at 7. Like, so it's been a huge help for us.
Yeah, and I'm in the same boat too. Like with this job being awake so early, I mean, I don't have children, so it's not that. um,
But it's just hard to get up and get going in the morning sometimes.
Or I'll have friends, you know, text or call and be like, hey, do you want to hang out tonight? And it's 9 p.m. And I'm like, no way.
Yeah, I have
no
a job. Yes.
But something that very helpful a lot was when I was in high school, I got this alarm clock that instead of using sound, it's light based instead.
Oh.
So and that's a lot more effective than sound. Like it slowly lights up and gets brighter and brighter. So
oh. My husband has one of those
yeah.
that he uses. He actually has a seasonal depression. So in the winters, when it gets dark early and it's dark longer, yeah, it helps him a lot. He'll use it just to help wake him up and help him feel more like it's morning because he struggles with that a lot. during like the winter and all of that when it gets dark earlier. So he actually has one of those. The second you said it, I was like, I think that's what we have. He uses that a lot. So yeah, that's another great one.
I want to get one of those alarm clocks that like will run around the room while it's like going off. That would help so much.
It forces you to get out of bed. Yeah, so those are all really great. Did anybody online have anything? Coffee and meditation, yes. Those are both great. I'm a huge fan of coffee. I just enjoy the flavor, but it is a good habit. Like a lot of us will set our coffee pot to go off in the morning automatically. That's my husband. The coffee pot goes off at like 5 in the morning for him because he gets up so early. And so he's got a mug of coffee ready to go when he's walking out the door. So
yeah, that's me too. I always set it the night before.
Yeah.
So I wake up and I'm already have that coffee, and it's one less extra step in the morning to get my day started.
Less stress for sure. So what you want to do when you're setting your habits is you want to anchor that habit. And so we have something called the habit loop. The start of that loop is your cue. So something that you do for yourself to remind you to do your new habit. So say your habit was going to be exercising, going to the gym, as we talked about previously. Your cue might be laying out your gym clothes the night before in the on your dresser or on the counter in the bathroom, wherever you're going to be first thing in the morning, to remind yourself that you've committed to going to the gym. And then
for me, that's making breakfast. That's my habit. So the night before, when I'm putting my coffee on to make for the morning, I'll put a plate right next to it. So it reminds me, hey, I need to make breakfast this morning. So
yeah, so when, like for Elena, so she's not running out the door and having to swing through fast food or be hungry at work. So your cue is something that you're going to visually see or hear every day, or every day that your habit is, if you've only chosen like 3 days, that's going to remind you to do that habit. And then it's going to become part of your routine. I think I said earlier, it takes about 2 weeks for something to become a routine habit for us. And it's kind of repetition, but it'll become part of your routine. So whether it's laying out the plate next to the coffee maker, laying out your gym clothes, you'll see by about the end of the 2nd week, it's routine for you. You're just going to automatically know, hey, it's Tuesday. I need to lay out my gym clothes for tomorrow. Or, like Elena, she's setting her coffee pot. I need to lay out my plate for breakfast. So it becomes part of your routine. And then when we were talking about setting routines and habits, we talked about small goals. And the reason that we want small goals is rewards. Rewarding yourself for meeting your goals actually helps your goals become habits. So having that small reward that you give yourself for reaching that short goal will help that short goal become another short goal and eventually become a long-term habit. So, for Elena, she might reward herself with going out to eat for breakfast one time. Like, hey, I made it to the end of my 30 days and I'm going to swing through McDonald's or something. I don't know that McDonald's would be your choice, Starbucks.
Yeah. But rewards doesn't always have to be in that way. So maybe your habit is going to the gym. Your reward is you feel better, health-wise. You feel more energized. Maybe your habit is to eat breakfast so you feel fuller and you feel cranky in the morning.
Yeah, or your reward could be something completely unrelated to the habit. Your reward could be taking yourself for a pedicure or whatever, just something to kind of give you that little boost that you need. It just helps bring it around to that full loop. So cue helps become routine, and then reward helps bring you back around. So it's kind of like creating your own little cycle for yourself. Yeah.
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 Exactly.
Yeah, that's really great.
So a lot of times when you're trying to start these habits, it can feel almost overwhelming. You know, maybe you're working out 3 times a week. That sounds like a lot to you. So what do you anticipate being your biggest obstacle when you're trying to set these habits?
Probably just remembering to do them, like
Remembering to do them.
Like, I mean, and also part of it, like, remembering, and also part of it would probably be remembering that I have a reward.
Yeah. Remembering to reward yourself.
I remember that I have a reward, but for the waiting at the end of it to be, then I'll, like, do it. But I've never actually used like a like long-term goal for a reward. So that might be why.
Yeah, it's so short term. That's what we want to look at. Do you think that you have any obstacles that might? Yeah, or like setting a new routine. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you've been up too late and then, yeah. 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 Setting that routine. That one was hard for me. Going to sleep when you need to go to sleep so that you can get up when you need to get up. That is definitely an obstacle for a lot of people. That was hard for me. And also, for me personally, being a parent is an obstacle, especially to a young child. It can be really, really difficult to start something new when you have another human that you are doing everything for also. And, they're little tiny people and she has her own opinion about things and she likes to make it known now. So, for me, being a mother to a toddler is an obstacle. Getting to bed on time, that was an obstacle. What about you?
Yeah. So like for me, for breakfast, sometimes, I do wake up too late, so I don't have that time. And then I'll just grab something quick out of the pantry that either it doesn't fill me up or it's not very healthy for me. And so I just feel worse than if I would have skipped it altogether.
Feel a little bit blah. Yeah. That's how I feel sometimes when I'm running out the door. I grab, like, my daughter loves these little birthday cake muffin things, and they're delicious, don't get me wrong, but they give you, they give you like a sugar rush and then a crash. So like in the moment, I'm like, oh yes, this will be great. And I'll eat them. And then within an hour, I'm like feeling that crash from that initial burst of energy they gave me. And it just makes you feel blah kind of the rest of the day. So did we have anybody online mention any obstacles?
Yes.
Time and energy. Yes,
Wow.
getting derailed and feeling defeated. That is a big one. And we can always set little reminders for ourselves that just because we fall off our habit wagon doesn't mean we can't get back on. So, if your goal was exercising 3 times a week and you maybe fell off on day 5 because something came up and you just didn't make it to the gym, and then the next day the next planned date for the gym rolls around, you're like, oh, I didn't go that day. I'm going to be so tired. I'm going to skip today. It happens. We're human. We fall off the goal wagon all the time. But having that reminder that you can get back up, you just want to start your loop back over. You want to set your cue again, so that it becomes part of your routine, reset your reward, and try to move forward. So, yeah, it can feel like defeat, but you can also reset your goals. And that's a huge one to kind of take with you, so that you can reset them.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so important about setting small goals. So, you know, if it's, I'm going to work out 3 times a week for 2 months, that can be, you know, that's
overwhelming. Yeah, that can be overwhelming. You're looking at a large time quantity instead of a small one. So if your 3-day-a-week goal is closer to 30 days, it's less overwhelming. And then your reward is in those 30 days. And then you are setting your new goal. And usually, you'll find that by the second month of small goals, you've really become in the habit. It's become very regular for you. But you know, we all fall off. I was just thinking about how I fell off. I was bringing my lunches to work like routinely every single day. I was doing really, really great about it. And then we had something happen during lunch hour where we had a presentation, and I went out to lunch, and I was like, I remember how much I love going out to lunch. And then for like 2 weeks, I ate out every day. And then I looked at my bank account and I was like, I need to stop this, because
I remember why I wanted
yes,
to.
I remember like how much money, and we DoorDash a lot at the office. So like, you're not just paying for a $10 meal, but you're tipping and you're paying the DoorDash fee and everything like that. But that was a good cue for me, was like looking at how much I had spent on eating out, brought my goal back into focus. So. Okay, so we want to plan ahead for our obstacles. We want to look at our time. You know, some of us, I think we talked about this with the ego depletion. Some of us wake up and our time is like, yes, the morning is our time to shine. And some of us actually, our time to shine is, 5 p.m. And so you want to pick a time that works for you and your schedule. Your habit doesn't have to be at 6 a.m. It can be at noon. It can be at 8 p.m. It's whatever works for you.
And then another obstacle is energy. Maybe, like you said, with that ego depletion, you don't have as much energy in the evening as you do in the morning. They kind of tie in together. So trying to focus on one habit as opposed to trying to implement multiple habits into your routine can help save some of that energy, so you can focus more on what you truly want to do.
Yes. And then cost is always important. Knowing how much you are able to spend. When we talk about working out, we keep talking about going to the gym, but gym memberships cost money. They cost a lot more money now than they cost even a couple of years ago too. So maybe you can't afford that gym membership. It's not in your budget, but you can afford to pick up a couple things at Walmart or Target to work out at home. Pick something that is within your budget. You don't want to pick a habit that you can't afford. And it's, just as effective to exercise at home as it is to go to the gym. Some people are motivated by that drive to go to the gym, and some people are more motivated to be at home alone, where they're not around other people to work out. So factoring in the cost and what motivates you are both very important. But being able to afford your habit is definitely important. Just like looking at your budget and realizing you spent too much eating out lunches for 2 weeks. A motivation for me. It was definitely a motivation for me to be like, hey, I need to start buying sandwich meats and salad stuff to bring. So those are all really important in planning ahead for your obstacles. And then, one thing that we didn't get on here, but it just goes back to the being derailed and feeling defeated, is making sure that you have a plan in place to hop back on that loop if you do fall off, so. All right, and then, oh, that was part of another one, sorry. Rewarding important milestones. This one, we just want to reiterate the treat yourself. Your reward can be not just a physical thing that you do or get or see, but your reward could be just seeing how you look in the mirror and feeling better about yourself.
Or like you said, feeding your fish. Maybe you feel like accomplished, like I'm keeping this thing alive.
Yes.
That in itself is a reward.
That is something that is like for me, like take the environment that I help create thrive.
Yeah, exactly. Like that in and of itself is rewarding.
Yes. And I feel you on the fish. My first pets were fish because I was like, you don't get emotionally attached to fish like you do a cat or a dog, but you do. You do. And my poor fish passed away. She was like 5 or 6. And I was like devastated. And then I was like, now I'm getting a dog because they live longer. But that is also not easy. Yeah. But that's, you know, that keeping the fish fed and healthy, keeping their environment clean, that's, you know, that's a really great kind of reward, is seeing them thrive in that environment. You know, I like to reward myself with getting my nails done. It's just something that makes me feel good about myself, is having my nails be pretty. So it's my reward. A lot of times I'll be like, okay, if I get through these 2 or 3 weeks that I've set for myself, I'm going to go and I'm going to get the full shebang pedicure, like not the basic one, but the whole shebang where they massage your leg and your foot and like, you know, all that, because I love it. It's what I enjoy, and it's a nice little reward for myself, and I walk away feeling really good. And then, you know, I've got like 2 weeks worth of reward to look at because my toes are pretty. And so your rewards are specific to you. It's whatever helps you feel accomplished at the end of your goal. And then when you reach the end of your goal, your little mini goal, you're going to reset your goal. And you're going to set your new mini goal, and you can set a new reward. Your reward doesn't always have to be the same either. It can be different every time you hit the end of your mini goal. So, do we have any comments from anybody online or anything?
Oh, really?
Oh,
oh my gosh.
I didn't even think about that, but that's really great.
It's like take it sandwich between the march section and the gold.
Nice. Yeah, that's really great. So you don't even have to go buy it to start, because you might not know what size weights you need or how much you're going to be able to handle. So rather than investing in them, come rent your video or rent your weights. I love that. That's really great. So yeah, so it's just, those are just all really important in setting your daily habits. Is having all these steps: cue, routine, reward, all very important. And then that brings us to the end of our presentation. So what you see in front of you is our mental health support line. It says COVID, but it's also in place now for the winter storm. It's 24/7. It's free for everybody. And they are just there. They're there to listen to you if you need somebody to talk to, but they can also connect you to professionals if you are in a place where maybe you're not sure what your next step is. They can help you figure out what those next steps are. And they're just available for you to speak to. And that's 1-888-690-0799.
And if you like this presentation, we also post on our social medias 3 times a day, kind of something similar to this, like creating daily habits or coping skills or stress management,
setting personal boundaries,
even dealing with grief.
And we talk a lot about like things that are going on in the month. It's Pride Month, so we've had some Pride posts.
I believe a PTSD awareness month is going to be rolling out soon.
Yeah, and we've got some postpartum depression information. So just all kinds of really great information that you can find on our social media.
And if you are interested in any of our services, it could be this presentation. We also do one-on-one skill sessions. You can get in touch with our team lead, Lauren Mitchell, and her information is right there on the screen for y'all.
Yeah, and we do all sorts of skill-based sessions like this one that we can do one-on-one or we can do with a group. You know, so maybe you enjoyed this and you go back to your employer and you tell them how great it was, or your group of girlfriends or guy friends and they want a session. Lauren would be the one to contact and she can schedule that, and we can do a wide variety of skill-based sessions. We've covered everything from anxiety and depression, coping skills, creating habits like this one. The list goes on. And if you have a specific topic that you're looking for, we can also customize a presentation for that. And then we have our survey, and I think Bethany, you have the survey to put in the online link, and then you ladies here with us, you have the paper copy of the survey. So feedback helps us improve or know if we're doing a great job. And so we just love to hear from everybody. Feedback is always very important to us. So if you would fill out the survey for us, that would be amazing and we'd appreciate it. So, and we just want to thank everybody for attending in person and online. We appreciate you guys coming and hearing about our daily habits presentation and just being in attendance. It's been really great. So thank you so much.